Ted's condition when he arrived here was critical. Within minutes, if we didn't do some drastic measures, he would be officially dead.
We were just waiting for the phone to ring, and it was going to be a nurse saying, you need to come to the bedside because he's going to die.
Then his heart quit functioning altogether.
This is crazy. Here's this kid who had made no bad decisions, had not been sick hardly a day in his life, and is in great physical condition. How can this Div 1 athlete be basically circling the drain? Ted had been doing a lot of stuff around the country, and he came back and looked very, very pale and didn't look well.
We thought he had the flu. It was as simple as that.
On the afternoon of the 4th, he started vomiting profusely, had 104 fever, and I talked to his doctor, and they decided, let's put him in the hospital, give him some fluids.
I spent the night with him that night, and then in the morning, I noticed he was breathing really fast.
And he looked horrible. His pulse was about 140, his O2 saturation was below 80%, and that was the start of a really strange journey. All of a sudden I noticed he's in VFib. They shocked him twice and got back to normal heart rate. We knew we were in huge trouble.
He was transferred from Salina in critical condition with what we call cardiogenic shock, where the heart basically has lost its efforts to beat. And we knew when he arrived that it was a desperate situation.
And we're sitting there for about 20 minutes, and the liaison nurse came to the door and she's crying. She said, well, I got some bad news. The minute he came in the cath lab, he coded. I'm like, okay, great, fix it. Well, we're trying, but it's not working. At which point, Melissa and I pretty much realized that we were probably in for planning a funeral.
Ted was dying in front of our eyes, and we had to do everything we could to keep him alive. And he required almost an hour of CPR.
After 20 minutes, you start to think, well, this is not going to end well. But they kept going. They kept going past 20 minutes, past 25 minutes, past 30 minutes. They kept going.
I remember that night. That was probably the single most painful thing.
We really were looking at the fact that he was probably going to die.
Melissa and I were just talking about, getting ready for that if it happened. And, what are you dressing in the coffin? And she got as messed up as I've ever seen her.
I'm not a big crier, and I believe in suppressing my emotions and just powering on through it.
I've never heard anybody shriek like that. And it hurt so bad. And, and as a dad, I wanted to take care of my family, take care of my wife, take care of my kid, and basically at that point I can't do neither. And then the door flew open and Dr. Borkon was smiling, and I interpreted that was the first glimmer of hope we had. And we had a really nice conversation. He said, he's super sick, but we got him stable on ECMO right now, and we got a long way to go, but there's still a chance, he can be saved.
What came out of that night was the fact that we agreed after that point that we were never looking back.
We were going to go with everything we could and attack it the best we could and support the doctors, nurses 100% and hope that everything worked.
Ted spent over 100 days in our intensive care unit, and he went through some incredible near misses.
Basically, his heart stopped on June 5th of 2009, and he did not have a heart beating in his chest till the morning of September 16th of 2009.
He not only had, at a point, support for both of his heart ventricles, but also his lungs and his kidneys.
4 times during that 4.5 months we were in the hospital, they told us he'd be dead within 2 hours.
He had infections throughout the way that were very serious.
He'd had a stroke.
The VAD failed twice.
But he recovered. We got him well enough for him to be able to be listed for transplant.
And it was only when we got the call that a donor heart had become available that I really thought we were going to get out of this mess. So we were in the intensive care unit, and Gretchen and I were having a conversation just about Ted's progress, and I got a call that a donor heart had become available. And Gretchen's response was absolutely something that will stay with me forever. She clasped her hands across her face and just went, "Oh my gosh." And that kind of summed it up for all of us.
I think the classic stereotype for people with heart diseases or heart ailments would be the old, sedentary, overweight individual. But in reality, I suffered the viral myocarditis when I was 21 years old, so nobody's really safe. It could be from any age, any body type. I was very fortunate to survive that ordeal, but in actuality, not a whole lot of people would have been. So that's why things like, medical research, medical funds, these things are necessary.
There is no doubt that active research programs, such as those funded by the American Heart Association, make a difference and save lives. Every step of the way as we planned TED's care, there was behind it a study that created evidence-based data that we could use or apply to not only TED's care, the care of so many patients with heart disease.
I think it's important to give to organizations such as the American Heart Association because it can help provide the innovation and the technological advancement to help people when they are in need of care.
You can't do anything in medical technology without money. You can't get better medicines without money. You sure can't get much done research-wise without it. Also, how are you going to attract the brightest people that do the best research if you don't pay them?
And I think it's investment in organizations such as the American Heart Association that really does good. I think Ted has a wonderful future ahead of him. His new heart continues 3 years later to function wonderfully. There's nothing he can't do for a young man of his age, including hunting and fishing and athletic events. A lot of his future care is going to depend upon continued advances in the field of research in heart transplantation and heart failure. Again, all supported by the American Heart Association.
The last 3.5 years have just been magical. I mean, there's no limits to what he's done. We've literally had 3.5 years where we've lived like today was our last day. And you know what? It's beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. I mean, wow, right? Wow.